Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's podcast. I'm really excited to talk to you today because this is something that I struggled with forever. And when I figured out how to fix it and I figured out what it is, what that looked like, it was a massive change in my life because now I had a tool and now I had a resource that I could go to whenever things and life was hard or I was struggling with something. So I want to talk about starting slow. I want to talk about this concept of just starting, but starting slow. Now, I love self-development. I love getting the motivational podcast, or I love getting a great book that just motivates me to get going. I love it. I love it. I do it every day, and I actively search to find a nugget of some kind of information every day that's going to propel me forward. But what I noticed in a lot of these books and these podcasts and all these other people that were talking about moving forward and achieving the life that you wanted, they really took into account that they were not struggling to get started, or they were at a certain place in their life where moving forward, action maybe wasn't that hard for them, or it was maybe something that was a little easier for them. Now, I get it. Not everybody's the same. But what I found in my own life is that really was a major problem. What I found is I could read all the motivational books. I could do all the self-development stuff, and I truly just couldn't start. And everybody just said, well, take action, just move, just go forward. And that's exactly what was stopping me. I could learn all this stuff. I could understand it, but I couldn't move forward. So what I figured out is by moving small steps is the key. And by just moving a little bit at a time, it got my brain to wrap around the idea of moving. So when I was really struggling with anxiety, depression, ADHD, I mean, the list goes on and on. What I found was that I was stressed because I knew I had to move forward and I knew I needed to take action. But the reality was it was so overwhelming. And where do I go? Do I go this way? Do I go that way? My brain just would not stop. Now, of course, I'm a hypnotherapist, and I'm a hypnotherapist because that is the biggest resource that got my brain to calm down, along with vitamins, minerals, supplements. So that is I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. But the idea is that this starting small, taking small action allowed me to start the movement of moving forward. All right. So if you're like me and you just cannot move forward, no matter what it looks like you can't figure it out, whatever it is you're dealing with, one of the places that I started is I looked at my day, and I truly had this belief that I wasn't accomplishing anything. I really believed that. My husband would come home from work and he'd say, hey, how was your day? And I just would feel like the biggest failure because I felt like I'm not doing anything. But it's not true. One place that I started is, instead of having goals and starting moving right towards goals, I actually started documenting what I did through that day. And after about 2 to 3 days of documenting, I really started seeing what I was doing and where I was spending my time. And it was such a relief because it showed in my illogical brain the logic that was actually happening. I think a lot of times we often hear things, motivation of trust your gut or trust who you are. But if you're suffering from mental health, or if you're suffering from other things, it's really hard sometimes to trust yourself because It's not always accurate. And that was one of the things that I realized is as I went throughout my day, I truly thought I wasn't accomplishing anything. And if you would have asked me, I'm like, I don't do anything during the day. But I was so tired all the time and I couldn't figure out why. And the reality was I couldn't trust my perception of the day because my perception was skewed with ADD, anxiety, depression, all this other stuff. And when I finally stopped relying on that and I started documenting what I was actually doing, I looked at this list and I was busy all day long. No wonder I was tired. And I wasn't even getting the credit for it. I wasn't even acknowledging all the stuff that I was accomplishing. So I couldn't figure out why I was so tired, but I was busy all day long. I wasn't even celebrating for myself. And so that affected my depression even more because I would just berate myself about, you're such a loser, you're not doing anything, which wasn't even true. So I made this document and I started seeing where I was spending time. Okay, so that's kind of the first step. If you can't get moving, just document. No shaming, no what you should have done, just document. This is what I did. This is what happened during the day. Okay. Then you can start to kind of formulate what it is that your day looks like. So for me, I'd always heard these people that would say, the day starts early and I just feel so much better. Well, when I was documenting for the first time, I had toddlers who some of them wouldn't sleep. And so the reality was I was trying to live this life as a person who got a full night's sleep. And that's not accurate because most people don't have toddlers while they're trying to function during the day, they have toddlers. Most people keep a rational view on their life. So if they have a toddler, they're rational in their head, the fact that they take that into account. I was not doing that. And they accomplish things because they're rational and they see the true picture. That's how people are accomplishing things. And this is what I realized. So when I started taking into account, I have toddlers that aren't sleeping, but then I'm trying to get up at 4 a.m. That's not rational and it's not going to work. And I'm just setting myself up for failure. Now, this is all very generalized for my life. If you're a person and that works for you and you can see in your lifestyle how that's going to work, where you, get a certain amount of sleep and then you nap with the babies, that's great. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Look at your life and start to figure out what is right for you, but just take small steps if you or if you're having a hard time figuring out where to start. It's okay. It's all right. It's perfectly fine if your day doesn't start at 4 a.m. And if you're a person that you can figure that out, you can start at 4 a.m. That's amazing. And take that and be like, I have figured this out. This is going to be great. Maybe it's not conventional, but it's going to work for me. That's amazing. And congratulate yourself for that. One of my main goals, if I could leave a message with everyone in the world, would be to stop shaming themselves for stuff that doesn't work for them. Do it the way that works for you and be okay with it. Be who you are and be proud of that. And there's so many times that it's like, yeah, but you don't understand my parents and you don't understand what society is. I get that. I do. I get the concept. But we all have these amazing gifts. I heard it on a podcast. I want to say it was like Fallon Taylor who said we have this secret sauce. And it's that secret sauce that makes you unique. And everybody's trying to hide it. And everybody's trying to, push it down. Don't see what makes me different. When that's what makes you so amazing. All right. So figure out your routine. I personally use the calendar system. If there's if that's interests anybody, I can make an entire video on the calendar system and calendar blocking, or whatever works for you. Just figure out what works for you. The next thing is start implementing little bits at a time that you just logically see, that you can see, oh, I could add this. Now that I understand where our starting point is, now I could add this and add it. But if it doesn't work and it's not maintainable, okay, no shame, no guilt. That's okay. See, I noticed when I was reading certain books, they talk about just move, just go forward. But their moving and going forward was like, I'm going to run a marathon, or I'm going to like climb this mountain. I was barely getting out of bed. I was barely functioning in life. A marathon? Are you kidding me? Climbing a mountain? What? I'm not there. We are not on the same page. I'm actively trying to cook 3 meals a day. That's where I'm at. And when I figured out to take these small steps, now I can take a little bit bigger steps. Are they as big as the person running the marathon? Probably not. But are they bigger than what they were 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago? Absolutely. If I look at myself from that time ago to where I am now, I do look like the person who's running the marathon. I do look like the person who's climbing the mountain. So it's possible that in future time, I could be climbing the mountain. I could be doing the marathon because I'm actually moving forward. And that's the key, is action. Just start with the tiny little steps. And I really believe a lot of us don't even start because we look at the marathon. We look at the mountain. We're not looking at, okay, today, what today, what can I move? Just one thing, just one thing. What thing that makes sense today? There were days when I would wake up, honestly, it was like, I can put these towels in the washer. I can't put them in the dryer. I can't fold them. I can't put them away, but I can put them in the washer. That is it. And when I took that approach, I started moving forward, because then I said, okay, if I put them in the washer, I probably could put them in the dryer. Now it would be later on in the day, but I'm not folding them. I'm not putting them away. And there's no guilt and there's no shame attached to that. That was just where I was at. But I celebrated that one small step. I got them in the washer. And bonus, I got them in the dryer. Look, I'm even better than I thought. There were some days that I thought, I don't want to get out of this bed. I'm exhausted. I'm so tired. I don't want to get out of this bed. But I thought, okay, I have to get out of bed. Great. And then when I got out of the bed, I thought, you did it. That was enough. That was enough. And in my head, it started like, yeah, but I should have gotten earlier. I should do this. And I was like, nope, that's enough. Whatever small step you're doing, say it's enough and celebrate that. I used to have, whenever a really intrusive thought, I used to have at least 3 to 5 things that I would just repeat in my head. So if a very intrusive thought came into my head, I just was like, I am amazing. I am awesome. I am successful. I am loved. I am amazing. I'm awesome. I'm successful. I am loved. And I just repeated that. And it was on autopilot a good portion of the time. It was like, I'm amazing. I'm successful. Like just on this autopilot. The second I realized that I was like, oh, I should do this. I should do that. And then I went, oh, nope, I'm amazing. I'm successful. Right? Like just constantly until I said it enough that I didn't have to catch myself. All right. I trust that this information was useful, was of value. I honestly would love to hear about your guys' experience and just taking those small steps. Stop berating yourself. Stop hating on yourself because it's not enough, because it should have looked like this or it should have looked like that, or, oh, my mom would have done it this way and my dad would be rolling over in his grave if this happened, right? Just let's stop. Just take one small thing today. We're not adding tomorrow. We're not adding the rest of the day. Just one thing today, and then go about your day being really proud that you took some form of action, even though it was small, even though it was little. You did it. All right. I love you guys. You're amazing. Hope you have an amazing day, amazing week.